I need to say something that honestly sounds a little bit crazy. I'm 19 years old, I'm still in college right now, and last year I made 147,83. I'm not saying that to brag at all, but like, isn't that just wild to think about? I don't have a rich dad. I don't have investors or a trust fund or any of that stuff. I built this completely by myself, on social media, while being a full-time college student. And by every single standard that the world uses to measure success at my age, I should be on top of the world right now. And honestly, yeah, I am really grateful for where I'm at, but sometimes I still feel like I'm behind in life, and it's not all day and it's not every day, but it hits me. And if you're watching this right now, I'm willing to bet that you probably feel behind sometimes too. So that's what this video is about. And if any of that sounds familiar to you at all, just stick around because I'm going to break down exactly why that feeling happens, where it actually comes from, and most importantly, what to do about it, because I promise you it's not what you think it is. Now, you probably look at me right now and think, okay, this guy is clearly ahead. I mean, he's 19, making more than most adults make in a year, doing something he loves. He's winning, and I get that. From the outside, yeah, it looks like that. But you don't see the nights where I'm sitting at my desk at like midnight trying to manage being in college while also running a business that I built from nothing, just completely stressed out and overwhelmed. You don't see the weeks where my content isn't performing and I'm sitting there questioning everything I've built. You don't see any of that. And that's the whole point of this video, because if I can feel behind while things are genuinely going well for me, then this feeling clearly isn't about your situation. It's not about how much money you have or how many followers you have or what your GPA is. It's about what you're using to measure yourself. And most people, including me for a really long time, are using the absolute worst possible thing to measure themselves against. And it's making everyone feel like they're losing, even when they're not. Here's the truth that nobody really wants to say out loud. Feeling behind is what happens when you measure your life using someone else's scoreboard, and that scoreboard is completely rigged against you. Think about it. Every single time you open your phone and start scrolling, what are you actually seeing? You're seeing someone's highlight reel, their best moments, the trip they went on, the money they made, the body they built, the success they posted about. And your brain, without even asking permission, just automatically starts comparing all of that to your whole life. Not your highlights, not your best moments, your whole entire life. The slow weeks and the bad days and the goals you haven't hit yet and the stuff you're still figuring out. And you're holding all of that up against someone else's absolute best. Of course you're going to feel like you're losing. You're supposed to feel like you're losing. The comparison is rigged from the start. And yet we all do it every single day without even realizing it. And here's the part that really gets me. I used to think this feeling would go away once I started actually making real money. I genuinely believed that. I thought, okay, once I hit a certain number, once I can actually point to something real and say I built this, the comparison is going to stop and I'm going to feel settled. But it didn't work like that at all. The very first day of my college classes my freshman year was actually the same day that I got monetized on YouTube. And I vividly remember sitting in my dorm, unpacking my stuff, getting that notification and thinking to myself, okay, if I could just make a couple $100s a month from this consistently, I will finally be able to relax. That was it. A couple $100 a month. That was the dream. So I kept going. And a few months later, I hit that. And did I relax? I mean, for maybe a day. And then my brain was like, okay, cool. Now let's make it bigger. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's make it bigger. And then it was like, all right, now we need to make it consistent. And then it was make enough to actually live off of. And then it was hit 5 figures a month and the train just kept going. And every single time I hit the goal, my brain had decided was going to make me feel okay. It just moved the goalpost every single time, without fail. And now that I'm looking back at all of it, I'm starting to realize that I wasn't actually enjoying any of it while it was happening. I was so focused on the next thing that I missed the whole thing. And that's not ambition. That's anxiety pretending to be ambition. And there's a really big difference between those two things that I wish someone had told me earlier. But let me actually back up for a second because I want to give you a real breakdown of how this whole thing started, because I think it's important context for everything I'm about to say. Right now I'm 19 and in my second year of college, but I've been obsessed with YouTube since I was literally 8 years old. I started my first channel back in 2014, filming Call of Duty videos on my iPad. I'm not even joking. 8 years old, iPad, Call of Duty trick shots, and from that point on, I was just hooked on the idea of making content. I went through probably more channels than I want to admit over the years, trying everything, failing at most of it, learning something from all of it, and then when I finally found a content strategy that actually worked for me, everything just changed really fast. Most of what I made came from short form content, mainly YouTube Shorts and TikTok, all in the sports niche. I'm not not doing anything crazy. I'm just finding moments people already care about, packaging them in a way that keeps retention high, and letting the algorithm do its thing. That's literally the whole game. But it took me years of being consistently bad at this before I became consistently good at it. And I think that's the part people skip over when they see the result. Because here's what people don't see when they look at my $104,000. They don't see my lowest month of last year, which was in October, where I made $2,147.16. And honestly, at that point, I had been doing this for a while and I thought I had it figured out. But October was rough for a few personal reasons. I wasn't posting as consistently as I should have been, and my content was in the wrong niche for that time of year. I was still posting baseball content when baseball season was basically over. I should have transitioned to football way sooner than I did, but I didn't, and it cost me. And I remember sitting there looking at that number thinking, is this even worth it? Like, have I been wasting my time? And that feeling of being behind hit me really hard that month. Even though by any normal standard, making almost $3,000 in a month at 19 is genuinely incredible. My brain didn't see it that way. It just saw the drop from where I had been before and decided that meant I was going backwards. And that's the goalpost problem. Once your brain gets used to a certain level, anything below that feels like failure, even if by every objective measurement you're doing really well. And then my best month was July, where I made $14,209.38. And that month was honestly insane because it started slow. The first 2 weeks I was barely doing $2,000. And then I just locked in. I started posting longer form content that was over a minute so I could double dip and earn from TikTok as well. I was basically posting the same piece of content to 2 platforms and doubling the income opportunity from the same amount of work. And once I figured that out and really leaned into it, everything just shot up. So yeah, those are my highest and lowest months. Every other month was somewhere in between those 2 numbers, and you can do the math if you want, but I just want you to see that it's not consistent. It goes up and it goes down, and you have to be okay with that if you want to do this kind of thing full time. And even in my best months, there were still days where I felt behind. That's the part that got me. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Feeling behind doesn't care what your bank account says. It doesn't care what you've built. It's not a logical feeling. It's a comparison feeling. And comparison is never going to make you feel good, no matter how much you actually have, because there's always going to be someone on the scoreboard ahead of you, always. And if you keep measuring yourself against that person, you'll spend your whole life running towards something that keeps moving every single time you get close to it. And that's not drive. That's not ambition. That's anxiety wearing an ambition costume. And it will drain you completely if you let it. I know this because I lived it for over a year before I figured out what was actually happening to me. And that's where people get it twisted. They think feeling behind means they need to push harder. More work, more grind, more hustle, more everything. But half the time, feeling behind is just a sign that your brain is addicted to comparison and you need to change the scoreboard, not run faster on the same one. So here's the fix. And I'm just going to say right now, it's really not that deep. It's not some big motivational thing. It's just practical. And it's exactly what worked for me. Step 1 is to pick one scoreboard for the next 30 days. Not 10 goals, not a whole vision board full of stuff, just one thing. Because here's what most people do. They get motivated, usually after watching a video or listening to a podcast or something, and they sit down and write out like 10 different goals they want to hit. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to grow my channel. I'm going to get better grades. I'm going to fix my sleep schedule. I'm going to read more books. And what happens? They split their focus 10 different ways, make tiny little progress on all of them, feel like they're failing at everything, and burn out in like 2 weeks. And then they feel more behind than when they started. Does that sound familiar? Because honestly, I've done that exact thing multiple times. So instead, pick the one thing where if it improved, your life would actually feel lighter. For some people, that's going to be money, because money stress makes every other problem feel heavier. For some people, it's going to be fitness, because when you don't feel good in your own body, nothing else feels right either. For some people, it's going to be content or their grades or a skill they want to learn. Whatever it is, here's the rule. If you don't know which one to pick the one you've been avoiding the most, because usually the thing you keep putting off is the exact thing you actually need to deal with. Pick that one, and just do that for 30 days, not 10 things. One thing. And no, this doesn't mean you stop caring about everything else. It just means for 30 days straight, all of your real focus goes into one lane. And what you'll find is that making real progress on one thing does more for how you feel about your life than making tiny progress on 10 things ever could. Step 2 is to create a daily win that you literally cannot argue with, and I want you to make it embarrassingly small. I'm serious. Whatever size you're thinking right now, cut it in half, because here's the trap that kills most people, and it definitely killed me more than once. You get motivated. You set this massive daily goal based on your best possible version of yourself. I'm gonna grind for 4 4 hours a day. I'm going to post every single day and make it perfect every single time. I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours and eat perfectly and do all of it. And you do it for like 3 days. And then life happens. You have a rough day or you're tired or something just comes up and you miss one day. And because the bar was set so high, missing one day feels like complete failure. Like you blew the whole thing and then you quit and you feel worse about yourself than before you even started. If you tell yourself you're going to grind 4 hours a day, you'll do it for 3 days, burn out, and probably feel worse. So instead, set the bar so low that missing it would be embarrassing. If you want to grow on social media, your daily win is not going viral. Your daily win is just posting one piece of content. That's the whole win. For me, my content in the beginning was not making a masterpiece every single day. It was just getting my reps in. Some days a video was great, some days it was honestly pretty mid. But the win was that I posted. I improved one small thing and I kept the momentum going. And after a really long time of being consistently bad and learning from every mistake, I eventually became consistently good and started seeing real traction. That's how confidence actually gets built. Not from thinking about your future, from stacking proof every single day that you're someone who actually shows up and does the work. And step 3, and I already know some of you are going to roll your eyes at this one, is no scrolling until your daily win is done. I know it sounds dramatic, but this is genuinely the cheat code and I can't believe more people don't talk about it. Because here's what actually happens when you wake up and the first thing you do is open your phone. You spend the first 10 minutes of your day watching someone else's highlight reel before you've done anything, before you've created anything, before you've given yourself a single win for the day. And your brain has already started comparing, already started asking why you're not further ahead, already decided you're behind before your feet have even hit the floor, and then you try to go and build something from that headspace. And it doesn't work because comparison before output always equals failure. When you compare yourself before you've given yourself any proof that you're moving, you start building from a broken place. So just flip it. Do the daily win first. Post the video first. Go to the gym first. Study for 30 minutes first. Do the thing before you open any app. And then scroll as much as you want because now you've earned it. You've already got your win for the day. And here's what's actually crazy. If you genuinely do this for 30 days straight, something is going to shift. Not because of some magical mindset transformation, but because you actually have proof now. Real evidence that you're moving. Every single day you completed the win, and your brain starts to look at that track record and the voice that says you're behind just gets quieter and quieter. Not because you silenced it with motivation, because you drowned it out with proof. And this brings me to the last thing I want to say, and honestly, this might be the most important part of this whole video. I used to think confidence came first and then you take action. Like you had to feel ready, feel sure, feel confident enough before you could go all in on something. And I waited on that feeling for so long, waiting to feel confident enough to post the video, waiting to feel ready enough to commit fully. And then one day I just posted anyway, not because I was confident, but because I was tired of waiting. And something happened. It worked, not perfectly, not the first time, but eventually. And that's when I realized it's actually the complete opposite of what I thought. You don't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. If you take action first, confidence is going to show up later. Like, oh, we could actually do this. Cool. That's how it really works, not from a speech or a podcast. From actually doing the thing, especially when you don't feel like it. Rep by rep, day by day, win by win. That's where confidence actually comes from. Now, overall, there are still days where I feel behind. I made 147, 83 years last year at 19 years old, and I still have those days. But now that I know what to do when that feeling shows up, I don't start to spiral. I don't start comparing my whole life to someone else's highlight reel. I don't start planning some imaginary future version of my life in my head. I just focus on my one win for the day because one real win shuts up all the noise in my head, and that's what I want for you too. So if you're feeling behind right now, don't panic. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just using the wrong scoreboard and consuming too much of other people's lives. Pick one scoreboard, create one daily win, earn your scroll, give yourself 30 days. And if you want me to actually help you figure out what your daily win should be, comment the number 30 down below and tell me what scoreboard you're choosing, whether that's money, content, fitness, school, whatever it is. I'll help you find something realistic that actually moves you forward, and that's pretty much it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and a nice comment down below. I love reading through everything you guys say, and I'll see you guys in the next one.